Welcome to the channel, Story Reading and Life Inspiration. I'm Hien. I'm very happy to accompany you on a journey to spread profound values through the pages of books and everyday stories. Today, I want to share my thoughts on a famous literary work, 100 Years of Solitude, by Colombian writer Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Before we begin, if you find the content helpful and relatable, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the reflections and short stories I'll be sharing in the near future. And now, let's dive into today's sharing. Loneliness, the price of every form of existence. In this world, people may differ in background, talent, or luck, but there are two things no one can escape: death and loneliness. Death is the endpoint, but loneliness is something that follows us throughout the journey of life. Some go through loneliness in silence, while others are consumed by it loudly. Some choose to escape it through busyness, while others face it in silence and break down from within. In 100 Years of Solitude, Gabriel Garcia Marquez doesn't describe loneliness as a fleeting emotion, but as a curse, an invisible thread wrapped around the necks of every generation of the Buendia family. From the founder to the last descendant, all lived anxious, fractured lives and died in silence. Some loved, some built careers, some became famous, yet none escaped loneliness. The novel isn't about a lonely person, but about 100 years of souls that no one ever truly understood. Arcadio, the founder of the village Macondo, embodies the desire for change and exploration. He eagerly brought inventions from the gypsies, designed roads, taught people how to farm, and raised his children. Within him burned a fierce belief that, with effort, Macondo would connect with the civilized world, and people would live better lives. But the people around him only saw a dreamer. They called him mad. His wife was disappointed in him for not fulfilling the role of a husband. She couldn't understand the fire inside him that was burning down limitations. And then, when his only friend, the old gypsy, passed away, Arcadio completely collapsed. He was tied beneath a large tree and spent his final years alone, lost between the past and delusion. Arcadio represents those who live too early for their time. Idealistic, active, with a burning heart, but who are misunderstood and unsupported. He succeeded in founding the village, building, and inspiring others, but failed to connect. That is the most painful kind of loneliness, being isolated right in the middle of the crowd you are leading. In contrast to Arcadio is his wife, Ursula. She didn't dream, didn't rebel, didn't long for the world beyond Macondo, but she chose to face life through constant busyness. She traded, made sweets, built houses, took care of her children and grandchildren, a life of tireless sacrifice. Yet beneath that industrious shell was a loneliness so cold and intense. She received no love from her husband and felt no real care from her descendants. In her final years, when she had gone blind, she had to rely on her sense of smell to distinguish her relatives. But no one noticed, no one cared. She was locked in a room, part sanctuary, part abandonment. In the end, she died quietly, like a candle burning out with no one there to blow it out. Ursula represents many real people, those who stay busy all their lives just to avoid sitting down and hearing the echo of emptiness in their own hearts. They think that if they do more, worry more, they won't feel lonely. But loneliness doesn't disappear. It only steps back, waiting to return when we are most exhausted. The next generation, Aureliano, represents another kind of loneliness, being lonely even with family around. From birth, he had a special ability to foresee what had yet to happen. He was introverted, quiet, and immersed himself in the world of words, alchemical symbols, and cosmic secrets. As a child, he had a close brother, someone he could share joys and sorrows with, staying up through countless nights talking about things no one else understood. But one day, his brother left with the gypsy girl, leaving Aureliano alone in his strange world. From then on, he worked with gold, casting tiny fish, repeating the process like a machine. Alive, but not truly living. He didn't marry, didn't fall in love, didn't grieve. Yet deep inside was a loneliness too great to name. He had family, a home, a place to return to, but nowhere for his soul to take shelter. And so, from generation to generation, the Buendia family lived and died in solitude. But what's more terrifying than not being loved is the inability to love anyone at all. When the heart freezes from pain, when the soul shuts down from disappointment, even with people beside you, you still feel completely alone. Loneliness is not always about the lack of people. Sometimes, loneliness is the absence of a soul frequency that can connect with yours. Sometimes, you lie next to the one you love, yet still feel as though you are distant from the entire world. And sometimes, even with someone who cares about you, you cannot open your heart to receive or give love. That is when loneliness becomes a way of life, and a curse. In the darkness, you see yourself as alone, but even under the sunlight, you can still feel alone if your heart is empty. And this is also the most terrifying nature of loneliness in 100 years of solitude. The more you try to escape it, the more it consumes you. Loneliness, the inevitable fate of human existence. The corpses of the dead appeared all around the house, fear engulfing the atmosphere to such an extent that Arcadio and Ursula, the couple, decided to leave their old land, taking a few companions to find a barren place and start a new life. 14 months later, Ursula gave birth to a healthy boy. Arcadio persuaded everyone. Those who remained in that land officially founded a small village, isolated from the outside world, Macondo. As the founder of the village, Arcadio embodied a spirit of creativity and a burning desire to explore. When he saw the magnet brought by the Digan people, he wanted to use it to extract gold. When he saw a magnifying glass that could focus sunlight, he dreamt of creating a weapon of destruction. Each time he encountered an invention from the Digan people, it was like discovering a treasure. He was someone who dared to think, dared to act, immersing himself in the task of designing roads, houses, sowing seeds, teaching children, and always thinking far into the future. But Arcadio, with his ambition to connect Macondo to the civilized world, was regarded as a madman by the villagers. Even his wife couldn't understand him, often disappointed by his neglect of the family. Only the old man Melquiades truly understood him and called him a genius. After the old man's death, Arcadio began to lose his mind, falling into depression, madness, and eventually being tied to a large tree by his wife, where he lived alone until his death. Did Arcadio succeed? Yes. But was he lonely? The answer is also yes. Arcadio's loneliness wasn't due to a lack of people around him, but because no one truly understood him. This is the deepest form of loneliness, the loneliness of being out of sync with the world. As it is written in 100 Years of Solitude, man is born lonely, no one can escape it. And without a kindred spirit, you will remain lost in the crowd. William Wharton also wrote in Birdie, the essence of loneliness is not being understood by others. And in the end, Arcadio wasn't just rejected by the world, but he also lost faith in himself. After Arcadio's death, life in Macondo went on. Ursula, the tireless wife, lived a busy life taking care of the house, children, and making candies to earn extra income. She built the largest house in the village with her own hands, working tirelessly. Yet this busyness was merely a way for her to escape loneliness. Despite her devotion to her husband and children, she never received love in return. In her old age, Ursula became blind, but no one in the family noticed. She used her sense of smell to recognize her relatives, living quietly in a forgotten room, and ultimately died in helplessness and loneliness. The absence of love in her life was not unique. It reflects a painful reality in modern life. Many people live their entire lives in families without true love. They are lonely among their relatives, lonely in the crowded streets, lonely even when lying next to the ones they love. Loneliness doesn't come from a lack of people around you, it comes from a lack of inner connection, from the inability to love and be loved. In the next generation, Aureliano, the son of Arcadio and Ursula, was both magnificent and solitary. Even before he was born, he cried in his mother's womb. Life, too, is lonely. The busy are lonely, and the bored are just the same. Loneliness is a lurking shadow, sparing no one. The question is not, when are we lonely, but rather, why are we lonely? Is it because we lack someone to love, or because we lack the ability to love? Aureliano, the one destined for the most illustrious fate in the Buendia family, was also the loneliest. From the moment he was in his mother's womb, he cried. As he grew, despite having the strange ability of prophecy, he remained quiet and withdrawn. Loneliness never left him, even when standing in the middle of a battlefield or lost in fleeting affairs of the heart. He survived 14 assassination attempts, led 32 uprisings, became a renowned general, but in the end he was still alone in an old room, making goldfish repeatedly, a way to cling to a self that was slowly disintegrating. He tried to love. He hoped. He wanted to break free from the cage of loneliness. But one by one, his lovers died, friends betrayed him, and his children were killed. Power and fame couldn't save his soul. The more he struggled to escape loneliness, the deeper he sank into it. Only when he gave up war and returned to his small workshop, continuing to make goldfish, did he live quietly and peacefully. It was then, for the first time, that he didn't fight loneliness, didn't flee from it, but accepted it as an inevitable part of human life. And only then did he find peace. "100 Years of Solitude" is not just the story of a family, but an epic of the human soul. Each character represents a form of loneliness. Ursula is the loneliness of unrecognized sacrifice, Aureliano is the loneliness of meaningless glory, and all the descendants of the Buendia family are gradually caught in this whirlwind, as if it were an inevitable curse. In the end, what the novel leaves behind is not sorrow, but a message. Loneliness is an inseparable part of life. If we continue to run from it, constantly filling the void with desires, fame, and superficial love, we will only fall deeper into the abyss. But if we accept it, learn to live peacefully in stillness, then loneliness will no longer be an enemy. It will become a companion, helping us listen to ourselves and find inner peace. There are spaces in the human heart that no one can fill throughout a lifetime. Until Remedios, a beautiful girl of Aureliano's age, enters his life. Like a miracle, his soul, which seemed to have faded away, suddenly awakens in that moment. Despite the gossip and whispers around them, Aureliano insists on marrying her, a choice that transforms him into a completely different person, joyful, talkative, and full of love for life. However, that brief happiness ended tragically when Remedios died from drinking coffee laced with poison. Once again, fate cast him into the abyss of loneliness. Development, the narration deepens. To forget the pain, he began casting goldfish, isolating himself. But then the sound of war horns echoed across Macondo. He joined as if it were a lifeline. Soon after, Aureliano became the commander-in-chief, launching 32 uprisings, surviving dozens of assassination attempts and becoming a symbol that struck fear into his enemies. Yet, at the height of his power, he fell into a state of inner paralysis. Despite having 17 children by 17 different women, he still couldn't find true love. When all his sons were assassinated, when even his servants and former lovers betrayed him, Aureliano became a man full of doubt and coldness, ready to kill even those who once fought by his side. Loneliness, fame, and death couldn't heal the wounds of his soul. They were nothing more than brief intoxications. Climax. The narration slows, grows heavy. Standing on the pedestal of glory, hailed as a hero, only he knew how empty he truly was inside. He loathed himself, like a pig wallowing in the mud of honor. With no more reason to fight, no more joy left, he decided to withdraw. His mother came to persuade him, and he had an awakening. He shed his military uniform, returned to the small house, went back to the goldfish workshop, and embraced the quietude he had long since forgotten. For the first time in decades, he found true peace. Loneliness. It is the silent companion of Aureliano from beginning to end. From the moment he first cast the goldfish, to the moment he returned to it after his heroic life. In the end, he no longer resisted loneliness, but instead learned to coexist with it in peace. We are no different. When we feel lonely, we often rush to fill the void. Love, material things, power, recognition. But this impatience only drags us deeper into the pit of emptiness. Loneliness cannot be driven away, it can only be accepted. Loneliness is the inevitable shadow in human life. It cannot be overcome. The only thing we can do is learn how to live with it. If we view loneliness as a frightening ghost, it will always consume us. But if we see it as a quiet space to return to ourselves, to forget the noise of the world, and to reconnect with our inner rhythm, only then will we find true peace. Humanity is becoming lonelier, because the more we feel deprived, the more we long. And the more we long, the more we chase after desires. Aureliano was no different. Like all of us, he was once led by ambition and lost himself in the process. But he stopped in time. What about you? Are you still trying to run away from loneliness? Here is the English translation of the text you provided. Or learn how to live with it. Have you ever felt that the harder you try to find happiness, the more lonely you become? We always think we are lacking, always searching for things outside ourselves to fill the emptiness within. But can we truly find happiness without facing loneliness? Today, we will explore the journey of loneliness of a legendary character, Aureliano Buendia from 100 Years of Solitude, by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. This journey is not just the story of one man, but the journey of every person searching for the meaning of life in a world full of longing and suffering. Aureliano, a man who had lost all hope in life, suddenly finds joy when he meets a pure love. The girl makes him feel as if his soul is awakened. After many years, a heart that seemed to be dead is once again filled with love. But the joy was brief. Happiness had not yet bloomed before it withered away. His lover suddenly passed away, leaving him in sorrow and profound loneliness. Love had come, but like the wind, it passed and was gone. He fell back into the darkness of his own. In despair, Aureliano turned to war, revolution, and power as a remedy to soothe his pain. He began leading uprisings, becoming a man of power, respected by many. But behind the victories, the assassinations, the women, and the children, loneliness still would not release him. He had everything, but still felt empty. I have everything, but what is there? Glory cannot fill the loneliness within me. When betrayal came from those closest to him, Aureliano became suspicious and cold-blooded. His 17 sons died one by one under mysterious circumstances, leaving him with wounds that would never heal. A man standing at the peak of power, but inside there is only coldness and emptiness. Who can save me from myself? After narrowly escaping being poisoned, Aureliano became lonelier than ever. With no one by his side, no trust left in anyone, he was left only with himself and his pain. One day, while standing in his laboratory, Aureliano recalled the peaceful days of the past, when he quietly crafted little gold fishes. A vision of his father, a sign of awakening, made him realize that all the power and glory had passed and no longer held any meaning. He decided to give up his uniform, relinquish power, and return to his family, quietly living in a small room, crafting little gold fishes each day. I seek nothing more than peace, Only inner tranquility is true happiness. Loneliness is not an enemy to be defeated. It is a part of life. When we try to run away from loneliness by seeking things outside, love, money, fame, we only drift further from ourselves and sink deeper into a greater solitude. Loneliness is the inescapable darkness of life. The only thing you can do is live peacefully with it. Just like Aureliano, when you no longer fight against loneliness, you will find peace within it. You will learn to rediscover your own rhythm and live in serenity. This life is a series of struggles, but don't let loneliness become your enemy. Learn to live with it, and you will find true peace. Don't run away. Don't try to fill the emptiness inside with fleeting things. Only you can decide how to live your life. Reflect on this. Are you ready to face loneliness in order to find peace within your soul? Life is always accompanied by loneliness, like a shadow present in every moment of human existence. From the moment you are born, you are wrapped in the love of your family, cared for and protected. But one day, you realize you've begun to grow more independent, to see the differences between yourself and your friends, and feelings of comparison and loneliness begin to emerge. However, in youth, the world around you is vibrant and captivating, and you temporarily forget that loneliness. As you grow older and build relationships, you realize that what you truly need is not always something others can give. Conversely, the things others want from you are not always things you can fully offer. From there, a second kind of loneliness appears, a loneliness born of feeling misunderstood and unable to completely connect with anyone. You crave love, but the more you long for it, the more vulnerable you become, and the more easily you fall into emptiness. The material world, with all its brilliance and allure, is constantly trying to fill the emptiness within you. You chase after fame, wealth, and status, but once you've attained them, a sense of nothingness returns. No matter how high you stand, loneliness always waits in a hidden corner of your heart. And perhaps, at the end of your life, when you look back, you'll realize that relationships aren't meant for you to entrust your soul to others, but rather for you to take responsibility for your own life. Loneliness cannot be avoided. It is ever present, like death, and it will accompany us until the very end. Aureliano, the character in 100 Years of Solitude, spent most of his life stumbling before finally realizing that loneliness is an inseparable part of every human being. When a person possesses a fulfilled and abundant inner life, they no longer seek to fill their loneliness with things outside themselves. This book not only reflects loneliness, but also tells the history of a family, a tragic portrait of Latin America, and the fate of humanity. Read the entire work to fully grasp the profound meaning it conveys. The message I want to share with you is, don't run from loneliness. Like death, loneliness is always there, and you will never be able to escape it. Don't fear loneliness, because you are already whole. If you find this content meaningful, please give me a like and subscribe to the channel to catch the upcoming episodes. Goodbye and see you again.